Let's talk Manchester United now, because Napoli are pushing for the loan signing of Rasmus Højlund, according to Sky in Italy. That's after AC Milan could not convince Hojlund to join them under the terms of the deal on offer. Milan wanted a loan with an option, while Højlund and United's preference was a permanent deal. I mean, we've got European football expert Andy Brassel in the studio, so it feels like the first question, Andy, feels like Manchester United feel like Serie A is the place to sell their players.
Yep.
Why is that?
There's no money there, is there?
So why?
But because it's a good profile of league to reinflate a player's value. And that is exactly the spot that Hojlund's in at the moment. If you look at the players who've come out of difficult times, not just English players who've come out of difficult times in the Premier League to do really well there. Look at Scott McTominay's image now. You know, he's on the Ballon d'Or list. And go before that, you go Lukaku, Smalling, Young. You can go through them all, and they've reignited their careers there. Now, look, I think Hojlund and United, if that is really their view, that they want a permanent deal, well, you know, I'd love a Lamborghini, but it's not going to happen. The fact is that his value has dropped so much over the last 2 years. The best thing for him and for United is to loan him out and get him to a point where he's sellable. At the moment, he is not sellable for anything near what they paid for him. Even if you're taking off the bits for amortisation, it's just not worth their while. I don't see how they can get a reasonable deal for him. Whereas if he goes to Serie A and shows a bit of what we thought he was about, then it's a lot different. And maybe this Lukaku injury opens it up for him.
But then somebody like Anthony has gone to Spain, and he did pretty well at Real Betis last season.
Well, that's an advert for the loan, isn't it?
But no one's coming in and offering big money for him. So it just seems that these players that United are stuck with because of mistakes they've made in the transfer market, they just can't move them on, even when they go out on loan and do pretty well, like Jadon Sancho. You know, he went to Chelsea for the second half of last season, did okay. Chelsea were pretty ambivalent about keeping him, were willing to keep him as long as he took a wage cut. He wasn't willing to take a wage cut, and they said, all right, you know what, not interested.
And straight away, that's the problem there. The answer's in the question, isn't it? The fact is, yeah, and this is a problem for every Premier League club. If you've got failing players, where do you put them? I mean, the Saudi Pro League worked for that for a bit, but if they're not going to Saudi, where are they going? Now, maybe the Turkish Super League comes back into the picture later in the window, but I think for the moment, you do have to go out there and prove the players are worth something. I mean, it's been a difficulty. You think of Marcus Rashford, for example. He went out there and did pretty well in the second half of last season for Aston Villa, in a Premier League context as well. But was it? I realise Villa are in a particular situation, but no one in the Premier League looked at that and thought, you know what, we're going to bet the farm on him. There was enough to show there's a player still there, but there's not enough to say we're going to bet everything on him. And I feel that was the case definitely with Sancho when he went to Chelsea and Dortmund. There's enough to say there's still a player there, but is there enough to say there's a game-changing player that we want to invest a lot in, and maybe not? If Hojlund's got a full season to do it, then maybe at least that brings it closer to the mark where United find themselves an acceptable deal.
Sancho's an interesting one, because is it basically he is just holding out now for a club that is going to pay his wages? He's not willing to take a pay cut. And are any clubs in Italy going to do that? He's on a ridiculous amount of money at Manchester United.
I think the situation is that because he's on big wages, because he's likely to leave on loan, although I think United would prefer to sell him on a permanent deal, it's one of those things that's going to get done late in the window, because clubs know that they can get a better deal out of United regarding the loan fee and also how much of his wages they would have to pay. But the problem United have with Sancho, they don't need me to tell them, is that they bought him for a big fee, and also they gave him a big contract. And there aren't any clubs out there who are willing to pay a big fee for him or pay him the kind of wages that he's on at United.
I think Roma could still happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you turn down Roma?
Yeah, why?
You live in Rome. You play for
lovely.
an incredible club.
For an attacking coach in Gasperini.
Exactly.
I think there's a lot to recommend it. But look, if it was all about the money for Sancho, he would have taken the deal from Fenerbahce a month and a half ago, and he hasn't done that. So clearly his ambition is to play for what he sees as a big club in Europe, and somewhere where he needs to feel love around him. And that's why he's excelled at Dortmund. I wonder if there's a little bit of Dortmund in the background here, because there are people in the dressing room who would love to have him back. I don't think the club are convinced that it's a great deal, but I think from a Dortmund Sancho perspective, there's something there that won't go away. You know, that's where he first emerged, and he's got a lot of supporters there. Now, whether the club think that that's the right deal and whether they think it's a financially expedient deal is different, but I think that's possibly part of what's holding up the Roma deal reaching completion.
Man United's Alejandro Garnacho. It feels like Alejandro Garnacho has his heart set on moving to West London, but it feels like right now Manchester United and Chelsea are quite far apart in terms of valuation.
I mean, it appears as if he is sort of, you know, he loves Chelsea because he's turned down a move to Bayern Munich because he only wants to move to Chelsea, and that's the problem that Manchester United have got, because they value him at around £50 million. Chelsea don't feel that he's worth that, even though I think you could make a pretty good case for the fact that he is worth £50 million, because Madueke has gone for about 50, Gittins has gone for about 50, Alanga's gone for about 50, and Garnacho is an Argentina international. He's only 21 years old. But of course, Chelsea's point of view is this is a guy who's got no future at United. He's been told he can leave, so we're not going to pay over the odds for him. And I think Chelsea feel that they can get him for around £30 million, and they're just biding their time. I'm being told they're in active discussions with United, really good relations between the two clubs. I think the direction of travel is he's going to end up being a Chelsea player.
Alejandro Garnacho looks set for a blockbuster move to Chelsea, having already agreed on personal terms. The Blues are in advanced talks with Manchester United, with a fee of around £50 million expected. Meanwhile, Rasmus Højlund is attracting strong interest from Napoli following Romelu Lukaku's injury. Talks are underway for a loan deal worth €5 to €6 million, with an option to buy for up to €40 million. With AC Milan also circling, United's attack could face a dramatic reshuffle before the deadline.